Set 3 years into Superman's career, we find him in a relationship with Lois Lane, working as a reporter for the Daily Planet, and managing the best, worst dog in the world, Krypto. But challenges arise in the form of Lex Luthor, who has nefarious plans for the Man of Steel. Can Superman stop Luthor and save the day? To say that this was my most anticipated film of the year is an understatement. I firmly believe that Superman has not had a truly great live-action film since Superman 2. The DCEU films were less to be desired for me, so sorry Snyder fans. With director and DC studio head James Gunn at the helm, I had a fair amount of confidence in this project, although I was still very nervous. So, how did this film turn out? I can report that the movie is very good. Not as great as I had hoped, but it's still very entertaining despite my criticisms, which I will get to in a bit. Let's begin, as we so often do, with the positives. The casting is phenomenal, and the cast themselves did an excellent job. I am completely sold on David Corenswet as Superman. He oozes charisma, confidence, and a general good-natured and optimistic vibe that is required for the character. There is a ton of humanity to him with his willingness to save people and animals, and his love for his adopted planet and all of its people. Corenswet is indeed Superman. Same thing can be said for Rachel Brosnahan as Lois Lane. This is truly the best Lois Lane we have gotten on film since Margot Kidder. I love her no-nonsense reporting, such as when she goes all in on interviewing Clark as Superman. The little touches of her snacking now and then and drinking sugary coffee got some chuckles from me. And above all else, I completely bought the relationship between her and Clark. It was very refreshing to see that she is already aware of his identity as Superman. So glad we didn't have another origin, but we'll get into how that also causes some problems. While all the cast did great, from the other heroes to the Daily Planet staff, none had me more interested than Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor. I'm convinced this is the best comic-accurate Lex we have ever gotten on film. He is a xenophobic jerk who is also the smartest person in the room. He commands so much presence, but is also as vile and despicable as they come. A character like him also seems very appropriate in this day and age, and draws parallels to certain timely individuals. Lex's relationship with Superman draws contrasting ideologies between the two. Superman is an alien who does everything in his power to help people. He is a kind and loving soul who hopes so much for individuals and sees the best in them. Lex Luthor is from Earth, is reprehensible, believes he is better than his fellow man, and will quite literally sacrifice everything and everyone just to destroy an individual he doesn't even consider to be human. The film feels so much like a comic come to life, even more so than the Richard Donner Superman film, which is still my favorite comic book film of all time, by the way. We have zany creatures, godlike heroes, and colorful action-packed set pieces. My eyes were in love with everything on the screen. Also, shout out to the scene stealer, Krypto. This dog was such a blast to watch. He is adorable, but also a rambunctious, disobedient canine. In many ways, Krypto reminds me of my own dog when she was a puppy, and I believe many dog owners can relate. Now, as much as I enjoyed the film, I do have a fair amount of criticisms. For example, while I appreciate that there was no origin, there are downsides. For example, the film expects the audience to know a good amount about Superman and his lore. We are tossed into this world very quickly, which leads to a lot of clunky dialogue and exposition. The exposition alone was very annoying, to say the least. Act 1 of the film didn't do it for me. I believe it was because of the massive amount of exposition, but it just didn't interest me either. It's quite possible it was because I felt like I had to play catch-up to everything that was going on. I knew who these characters were because I'm a comic nerd, but for the general audience member, it will probably be a lot to take in. And the last thing I thoroughly disliked was a major twist in the film that changes a part of Superman's history. It annoyed me tremendously, but I can also see why they did it to tell this particular story. Just like how in Batman 89 things about his story were changed to tell a more personal tale, I think that's why it was done here. I don't agree with it, but I understand why this was changed to tell the particular story James Gunn had in mind. If that makes any sense. Though these critiques annoyed me a good amount, I believe the positives, as usual, outweigh the negatives. The casting of all the characters sold me, and they all did a tremendous job. It feels like an actual comic book coming to life on the big screen before my eyes. The themes of hope and what it means to be human are something that I feel resonates today and something that we need. It reminds us that while Superman has all these powers, his real strength is his empathy and heart. Fly on down to your nearest theater and go see Superman.